Good morning, everyone. This is Sarah, and welcome to my live Facebook video chat. Now, today you'll notice it's not Tuesday. We decided to go ahead and have a video on Thursday this week because Tuesday was Christmas Day. And I hope everyone got to spend time with their family and their friends and had a wonderful celebration. I know a lot of you are still celebrating because a lot of the celebrations last on through the new year, and I hope you're having a great time. Now, next week, our video will also be on Thursday because New Year's Day is on Tuesday, and I don't think a lot of people are going to want to do the live video on New Year's Day. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about a subject called Crochet Discouragement, and I'm going to help you, or try to help you, understand how to get past Crochet Discouragement. And then next week, I'm going to talk to you about our live, it'll be a live video chat, and I'm going to talk to you about our new crochet along for 2019, about the yarn giveaway we're going to have, as well as what we're going to be doing, what our plans are for 2019. So you don't want to miss next Thursday's live video chat. Now, I know a lot of you are probably still spending a lot of time with family, although some of you do have to go back to work, huh? So anyway, I wanted to just pop in today. I've got Maximo with me here, and he's wearing our Snowman bandana pattern that we released last week. I'm going to set him down. He's getting a little bit heavy. Say bye-bye, Maximo. Yeah, he doesn't want to say bye-bye. Oh. All righty. Oh, there's Rosie behind me. Would you like to pop in and say hello? Come here. Come here, girl. Here we go. Here's little Miss Rosie. She's also wearing one of our snowman bandanas. All right, we'll let her sit down too. We'll get right into our discussion. I see some of you are already popping in, and it's good to see you. Like I said, I know it's not Tuesday. We normally have our video on Tuesday. Of course, Tuesday was Christmas, so we're having it today on Thursday. And one of the things I wanted to discuss with you is crochet discouragement. And before we do that, check out my brand new mug. It looks like Rosie in a sweater, doesn't it? I just love it. Let's clink in. Clink. Hi, Tina. I see you just popped in. Hi, Dawn and Rhonda. Teresa. It's good to see you all. Now, our subject today is crochet discouragement. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is I get there too sometimes. This last week, even on Christmas Day, I had some emails, some messages, and even a comment that people were discouraged. One gentleman had made a beautiful rug for his mother, and she was not impressed. And another person had told me that they had made some hats for their grandkids and some other things, and they were like, oh, okay, and they just tossed them aside. Well, it can be pretty discouraging when you spend a lot of time on a craft, knitting, crochet, looming, embroidery, whatever craft that you do. It can be really discouraging to spend all that time and not have the gift received well. And so I want to just I wrote some things down and some things that sort of helped me, because I had moments where I had given gifts to friends and family, and they did the same thing. They were like, oh, okay. My sister Lisa always loved and appreciated everything I ever made or gave her. She had a wonderful heart for understanding, even though she wasn't a crafter herself, understanding how much time and effort that it went into it. And so I'm going to pop my glasses on, and I want to read this to you. It's, here we go. Most people who are not crafters, they don't understand the amount of emotion and thought that goes into even deciding what we're going to make for someone. Let's think about that for a second. when you decide to make something for someone, what I do is I think about, okay, what are they into? Do they like dolls? Do they like bunnies? What's their favorite color? Do they like minions? You know, children to adult can like all different kinds of things. And so we think about those things first. There's a lot of time and effort in that. You don't want to make it yellow if their favorite color is hot pink, right? You might add some yellow in it, but you want to make sure their favorite color's in there as well. Okay, another thing, I'm not going to pop my glasses on. I got mine written out nice and big. Okay, another thing is most people who do not craft do not understand the time and energy it takes to pick out the yarn or the supplies. Think about this. I have a bunch of yarn, right? But that doesn't mean it doesn't take me time and energy to pick out those yarns. Maybe it's that they live in a hot climate, so I need to remember thin yarns. Or maybe they're going on a holiday in a cold climate and they need something thicker. So we think about those things as well. So we're thinking about what they're into. We're thinking about what's going to work for them, right? I live in Colorado. I love chunky yarns. But someone who lives in Southern California or down deep in Texas may not want something made out of a chunky yarn. Okay, so there's more time and effort in thinking about that. Another thing is when we sit down to make that craft or item for somebody, there is a lot of time involved. Think about how many hours you spend making a blanket or a scarf and hat set or, you know, a toy and those amies. Oh my goodness, all those single crochets. A lot of work in that, a lot of time. And when we spend that time, a lot of ourselves are put into that item. A lot of our love for that person that we're making for. A lot of our effort and emotion. And I think that's why it hurts us so much when we give them a gift that we've made and it's not received well. It's not that they didn't like the item especially. It's that they didn't like something that we made for them from our heart. Okay? And those are things to keep in mind. But the difference is we know how much love and effort we put into choosing those yarns or choosing those colors or those styles and things that we made. And when I'm making something, like one year for one of my nieces, she was going to be in a Christmas program at church and they were all supposed to wear winter hats and I made her one of the snowman hats. Oh my goodness, this must have been 4 or 5 years ago. And she loved that snowman hat, and she was right on the front row. I think she was 5 or 6 at the time. Right on the front row in the children's choir, she wore that snowman hat, and she looked adorable. And everyone said, "Where did you get that snowman hat?" And she's like, "My Aunt Sarah made it." So those are great times, right? But when the item that you made is not received well, it hurts. It really does hurt. And so something that I want you to remember. When they don't receive the item, it's not about, or receive the item well, it's not about you, it's about them. You've done everything you know how to do to make that item wonderful. It's their attitude or their lack of knowledge, not you. Okay? So, if those things are not going to be received well, what I do as I make a little list when I'm making things for people and say, okay, don't make something for this one. They aren't really going to appreciate it. Don't make something for this one. And you keep that list and you remember. Now, sometimes you have different coworkers or different friends that you've made through the years. And it's the first time you've given them something and you're expecting that, oh, thank you. You did such a great job. And they're like, oh. Remember, like I said, it's not about you, it's about them and their lack of understanding. And something that we can do is we can educate. We can say, I made that out of, let's say, alpaca yarn mixed with wool that I purchased at this local yarn store. Explain to them what it's made out of. Explain to them how many hours that it took. And even then, they may not accept it well. They'll say, oh, okay. And sometimes later on, you'll see them wearing it and you're like, yes. Okay, so, but something you can do is, because we know we know the time and the effort that it takes to make something for someone else. Something you can do that will lift your spirits is to crochet for your local charities. And there's lots of wonderful places you can donate things, like the cancer hospitals. St. Jude's is a great one. You can go right on their website and they'll tell you exactly what to do or where to send it. But children and adults going through cancer, when they're giving a gift of a cute hat, it's a blessing to them. You know, when my mother was having some of her chemo treatments and I was sitting in the lobby waiting, part of it, they did some blood work and then I'd go back with her for the chemo. And then sometimes my other sister, Lisa, would go with me and we'd kind of tag team each other. Anyway, I was sitting in the lobby and I was crocheting away, making hats for other people along with my mother. And a gentleman sitting across from me was talking about how he had just got a new hat and he was just bald as a cue ball and just a handsome man. And he said his cat sheds all over it. And we got to talking about yarns that because he liked to crochet. And he could talk about yarn. We were talking about yarns that don't attract and what you can do, like rub, if your hat attracts or anything you have attracts your dog hair, you can rub a dryer sheet on it and things like that. And those are where the blessings come from for you. Okay? Some places you can give: hospitals where there's babies for NICUs, those tiny little hats. Cancer wards and burn wards are a great place. Now, if you want to know about what you can do for the burn wards, make sure you call your hospital and find out exactly what can be used, because of, you know, how sensitive the skin can be in those situations. Okay, so we talked about the cancer hospitals and charities. And another great place is your rescues. You know, a lot of these people are families that are homeless, and they would appreciate a hat and scarf set. And a lot of these children aren't going to get very much for Christmas. And if you make them something that's like popular, like a minion or something, you know, and give them a hat set or a scarf or mittens. And one thing that I found out in some of the charity work that we had done a few years ago is that booty socks, slippers, are very important for them, and they like thick ones because a lot of them do sleep on the streets and it's cold. And that's something, another thing that you can do to donate. Another thing that you can do to donate is nursing homes. Also, I'm not going to remember for a second. The thing about nursing homes for the elderly is a lot of them are there without family, and they won't see their family but maybe a few hours on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or something. And something that we used to do, there was a nursing home my mom volunteered at for many years. And we would go on the Saturday before Christmas, and we would make tons and buy tons of socks and slippers. And we would wrap them in pretty wrapping with pretty bows and give each one of them a gift. And you would be so surprised. So many of them are there alone, you know, and don't have a lot of friends. And so surprised how appreciative they are to get to have a package that they can open and have a beautiful pair of slippers inside. Remember, if you make slippers for nursing homes, to put the rubber on the bottom, you can use puffy paint, you can use hot glue, and then they also have a spray that you can use. I always use the puffy paint because it's a little softer. And don't put dots, put lines, because the dots can hurt their sensitive feet. I learned that as well. So what I'm saying is, don't let those who don't understand or aren't even, I say educated, they just don't know because they don't crochet or knit or really craft. Don't let them discourage you. Take your gifts to people who need them and will appreciate them. And if you do give a gift to someone and it's not appreciated, just think to yourself, they just don't know. They just don't understand. And if you feel the freedom to explain to them how it's made, you know, and I've done this, and then people are like, will you teach me to crochet? And I have taught them a few things, and some of them are like, oh, this is too hard. You're right. That you really, yeah, it's hard. And then some of them are like, oh, this is so fun. Teach me more. So you never know, you know. But it just sort of broke my heart when I got a couple of those messages that, you know, that the gifts weren't received real well. So I just wanted to encourage you, don't get discouraged. Don't stop crafting, crocheting, knitting, weaving, or whatever you're doing. Don't stop. Keep going, because there are those that will appreciate what you do. All right. If you weren't here earlier, I see some of you have popped in. Let's see. Judy, Tina, I already said hello to you. Rhonda, Vicky, Dawn, Marlene, Carol, Nicole, Heather, Susan, Carolina. I love that name. Carol, Judy, I just said hello to you again. Judy makes preemie hats. See, that's a great thing to do. Do you have a sock tutorial? I don't have a sock, but I do have what I call the world's easiest slipper pattern. And it's a really versatile pattern, and it's made with chunky yarn, so it works up quick. And they are great. I've done a bunch of them. And when I was doing some testing with it, we did a bunch. And then I had a bunch of mismatched ones, so I had to go back and make ones to match, because when you're testing the pattern, I just made one sock of each size. So I had to go back and make the other one. But it's a really easy pattern and really adjustable. But also, go to Ravelry.com. There are tons of easy sock patterns that you can do. There is one, I don't know who wrote the pattern, but it's called tube socks. And you crochet that out of, I think it's a number 3 weight yarn. And it's just double crochets. It whips up really fast, and then it's got the, I think, front post on the leg part of it. They're great for men. Women like them too, but it's not quite so thick. And because you're using a number 3 yarn, I think it's just called tube socks, or might be easy tube socks. Go to Ravelry and look for that pattern. I'll see if I can find it when we're done here, and I'll see if I can link it up for you. And that's a great one for the homeless shelters. You can make those, they're like one size, and you just make them in a length. And you can make them for, you know, kids, teenagers, adults, all sizes will fit, because it's a tube sock. There's no heel in it. And that's a great pattern. I'll see if I can find it for you guys and post it down here at when we're done here. All right, so what's happening this week at Posh Pooch Designs? I said, thanks snow, and I've got my snowman shirt on. I got this at Walmart, $5 I think, or something like that. I love snowman, and so we did a lot of snowman stuff. I wanted to try to have some snowman stuff for in between Christmas and New Year, so we had something to work on through the week that's fun and easy. And Maximo and Rosie were both wearing, let's see, I'll pop over there, see if you can still see them. Now they're just relaxing. So anyway, we did dog bandana with the snowman on it. It's super easy pattern. It'll work for any size dog or pet or cat or, you know, lion. Because you just make it bigger and bigger until it's the size that you want it. And it's super easy. Free pattern on the blog and video. The other thing that we did was the snowman jar cozies. You can do the little candle inside, that, not candle, but LED light inside. And we do it with a J-hook, I believe. I have to look back at my pattern. I'm pretty sure it's a J-hook. So that the spaces are big, so that the light can come through the holes. Here's the one that we did in pink and green. And these are super cute and super fun. The other thing that we did, I'm going to come down here. This is the Snowman Square, and we did this yesterday. And it's a 7 by 7 inch, and you can see this one needs a little blocking. And you probably will have to block them, because when you make a circle and then turn it into a square, you get a little bit of a uneven edge, and you almost always need to block them. And I linked that video up on how to block acrylic yarn. And if you look behind me there's the scarf that I made. Let me move my chair a little bit. There we go. That's the scarf that I made with those squares, and I did it in purple and green. One thing that kind of cracked me up is a lot of people are like, well, snowmans they're just for Christmas. No, January is the most wintry, snowiest month around here. Actually, January through March is when we get the most snow here, where I'm located, south of Denver. And the mountains are getting tons of snow this year. But anyway, those are the 3 things that we did. The dog bandana, the square. And you can make anything with this square. You can make a bag. You can make a scarf like I did. You can make a hat. You can do anything with it. A cowl, blanket, lapgan. And I did these. Let me show you back over here. I did these in all different colors. And I'm going to put these all together and make a lapgan out of it. And that's something that you can do. And you can also make like solid squares and then intersperse the snowman. And it's really super cute. Great pattern, super easy. These 3 patterns are free patterns on my blog, and you'll also find the video on YouTube. The other thing I wanted to show you is this yarn right here. It's called Go For Faux. And this is a new yarn from Lion brand. It is, let me pull this out just a little bit so you can see. There we go. I haven't tried it yet, but I want to see how it works with making pom-poms that look like faux fur. Now, I have a video out there on how to cut the circle out, how to stitch around it, gather it in, stuff it a little bit. It's super easy. But if you can just make a pom-pom out of this, now I don't know that I would cut it, and so I'm going to have to see how that works. And that's a new yarn that I found called Go Faux from Lion brand. The other Lion brand yarn I found is this one. It's a Wool Ease Cake, and it's a number 3. And to be honest with you, if you look at it real close, it looks a lot like the Mandela yarn, or Mandala yarn, however you want to say that. It's a number 3. A lot of the colors are similar, except I think this is a bigger skein of yarn, or a bigger cake. Let me take a look and see how many ounces on there. Oh, it's so teeny weeny. Here we go. This has 5.3 ounces, 590 yards. I think that's a little more than the Mandela. I'm going to have to look. But anyway, I'm going to have some patterns with those. The other thing that I located, which was really cool, is the Red Heart Ombre. And I wanted a purple and a pink. And guess what? I found a purple and a pink. And this is for a project that I'm going to do for Valentine's Day, if I can get to it. I got so much stuff on the books. But anyway, I found them at Walmart, and they were on sale for $5. And these are usually, what, like $7.99 or something like that? I can't remember. And they're big. And I like that they're big. I was going to say how many ounces on there. 10 ounces. And so I thought that was a good buy, and I got both of them because I'm going to use them both together in a project. All right, let me check the comments real quick, see if there's any more questions. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you all here. All right, well, that's all I had today. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the dealing with crochet discouragement. And if you popped in towards the end of our video, you can watch it from the beginning, and it'll talk a little bit about discouragement. And I just really, really, really want to encourage you not to give up. Because, like I always say, crochet is an ever-growing art. It's constantly changing. There's new hooks, new yarns, new stitches, and it's super fun to do. And it's also really good for your mental health to sit down and crochet and create things from yarn. I don't know what it is about it. Knitting is the same way, and a lot of other handcrafts. It just calms your spirit and helps you relax. And it does for me. When I'm having a rough day, when I've maybe gotten a negative comment and it hurts my feelings, if I can sit down and crochet even just a granny square, I feel better. Or my husband always says, I love to go to Hobby Lobby and squeeze the yarn, because I do. I want to know what it's made out of, and I can't tell if I don't squeeze it right. All right, well, I'm going to let you go. I didn't want this video to be too long. Like I said, I want to encourage you to keep crocheting, keep playing with your yarn, and having a great time. And I'll see you all next Thursday, because remember, New Year's Day for 2019 is next Tuesday. And so I don't think anybody wants to do a live video, especially if you had a party on New Year's Eve. And so what we're going to do on Thursday is I'm going to talk to you about what's going to be happening in 2019. We're going to talk about our new 2019 crochet along and the yarn giveaways. Okay? Well, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful new year, and I'll see you next year.